Alright, today we're going to do a quick instructional video on how to install the HPI Customs A-body GM frame bracing kit for 68 to 72 Chevelles, Cutlasses, and Skylarks. This is our revised kit. We've made some changes to make it a lot easier to install. When you unbox it, you're going to have two side rails, a right and a left. They look like this. They have end plates already welded in. They're cut and trimmed to length for you. You're going to have your exhaust cross member that goes in the back, as well as your stainless steel exhaust hangers in the size that you've ordered for your exhaust system, and then your adjustable transmission cross member. We've gone ahead and given more adjustability to it with some more slots and more range of movement for that. You'll get all your body mount reinforcement bushings for all of the body mounts, and you're going to have two boxing plates for the frame. Alright, we've pulled out one of our spare Chevelle chassis to walk you through installing this today. We haven't blasted it yet. Usually we blast our chassis after we're done because they do that when we powder coat our frames. And this may be the condition that your chassis is in when you're doing the work. We've got it set up on our jig table here. If you don't have one of these, you can do it on the floor on jack stands. You just want to make sure to have the chassis level front to back and side to side, and you're going to take it easy on your welding and not put too much heat in because you won't be strapped down to a table like this. You can grab off of the internet, you can find measurements for the stock chassis and cross measure it and make sure you're square before you go ahead. We've gone and tried to account for any of the tolerances in the frames when we designed the kit, so now you're basically put it into position, put it on an alignment hole, and tack it into place. There's no more trimming or cutting to your specific chassis. So the first step is going to be to remove these factory braces here to make way for our boxing plates. You go ahead and cut those off. All you want to do is make sure that it's flush to the edge of the rest of the frame. And while you're at it, this bottom edge of the chassis can be bent up from over time. And we found the easiest way to do that is actually with a crescent wrench, and you just place it over the edge and you can tweak the bottom edge of that chassis straight. And once you get it all straight and this piece removed, then you can prep the sides with a grinding disc, sanding disc, and get ready to install your boxing plates. So we're going to go ahead and cut this off now and then put the boxing plates in. So now Merv and I have held up the boxing plate, and we've trimmed it where we need to trim it. Sometimes we make them purposely a little long just to make up for any tolerances in your frame. We've trimmed this off. We've prepped all of the area that we're going to weld it. We've got it clamped in place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tack it, and we're going to tack it every 6 to 10 inches, and everything is going to get tacked into place before we do our welding. This is going to help you if you're not doing it on a frame table. Once the whole structure is tacked in and holding it side to side, once you start putting heat in, it's not going to pull and tweak as much. You just got to be careful, and we recommend about a 3-inch weld sections and just jump back and forth when you are welding the boxing plates. So Merv will go ahead and tack this in now for us. As good a time as any to do the body mount reinforcements. We include these in the kit because when you get your frame out, you're going to see that probably 90% of the time some of the body mount locations are rusted from the rubber mounts holding water. So these reinforce all the body mounts. They're going to help with rigidity and bolting into the body. Now they are a little thicker than the factory metal to reinforce the area, and it's kind of necessary to bring that body up just 1/8 of an inch to give enough clearance in the rear floor pan area to clear the bracing kit. And the reason we had to do this is we didn't want to angle the bracing down too much and take away your ground clearance. So it's a little bit of a compromise. All in all, not that bad of a thing. We haven't run into any problems with it. And these are designed for energy suspension body mounts or our CNC machine to billet aluminum body mount kit. I can't guarantee that factory reproduction rubbers will work. You're gonna have a hard time squishing them through the hole. All the locations weld in as is, minus the two center ones. You're just gonna have to trim a little bit of the body mount to fit nicely in here and center on the hole. And then the two smaller ones are to bring the rad cradle up equally to the body location. So those are for the front. Everything else is the same size, front to rear. So we'll go ahead and weld this in. We've already welded the rest of them in so we can carry on with the next part of the install. Okay, now we can move into fitting the side rail assemblies. And basically you're going to need just a 3/8 bolt that you have kicking around. Now I get someone to help you lift this up into place. And this 3/8 bolt is going to locate into the factory hole in the frame, right like that. And we're going to clamp it into place really quick. And we're going to throw a couple tacks on the bottom once we level everything and show you the process here. Okay, so now you can use a digital level, like the one we have here, or you can use the trusted old protractor style level, whatever you have around the shop. But you're basically going to want to adjust this until that level reads out 0. Right there. You want that level to the same level as the chassis. Our chassis is sitting at 0, so we're leveling to 0. That's going to dictate where the rear of the frame rail assembly gets welded. So we're going to tack it in place now. Okay, so now that we've tacked this in place and leveled it front to back, what we need to do is make sure the transmission mounting pad is sitting at 0 degrees level, side to side in the chassis. That's actually going to put the frame rails pointing down to the middle at a 2-degree angle. And we've done this to clear the rear floor pans and put the transmission crossmember in the right place to get your pinion angle correct. So now that this is at 0, we can go ahead and fire a couple more corner tacks, front and rear, on this rail, and do the same on the passenger side of the car, and we'll show you the next step. Now that we've got the side rails tacked in like we showed you, left and right, we went ahead and we bolted in just temporarily the transmission cross member to hold the front into place. And now we can slide the back exhaust cross member into place. Now you're going to make sure you want to put the holes for the exhaust hangers orientated towards the rear, so that when you weld the hangers to your exhaust system, both the transmission and the rear cross member hangers can come out and down if you ever have to remove your exhaust or mock it up, take it in and out a couple times. So we're going to square this up to the side rail, and we're going to just position it so that the leading edge of this rear cross member is at the tailing edge of these side braces, and that's just going to give us a nice place to line it up side to side. So we'll square it up and we'll tack this in place, and then we can go ahead and weld the rest of the kit in. so one thing that we'll point out just before we weld in these cross members is that once the side rails are in, both the transmission cross member and the rear exhaust cross member are purposely done a little long. The transmission cross member it has extra slots in it to take up for any tolerances that your frame may have width-wise. And because of that, we've added a little bit of extra material to this rear cross member. So you may find when you go to slide it into place that you may have to trim the two edges or just hit them with a flap wheel or something, just to clean up that little extra bit of material that we've left there. Okay, so now that everything's welded, that's it for the install. A couple things that we can point out. The exhaust hangers, they have a high temperature grommet in them, and basically they install just like that and center your exhaust in the openings. You'll be able to slide everything in place, mock up your exhaust system, tack them into place. We've designed this cross member to work with the Dynatech 2.5 or 3-inch Chevelle exhaust kit. It's a mandrel bent stainless steel kit with full polished mufflers and nice band clamps. That's available through us, so we can drop ship, or you can get it from any retailer that sells Dynatech products. The kit will work with other exhaust systems, but you may have to modify them slightly to work with that cross member. One other thing that we've done is we've given you 3 pilot holes on each boxing plate to allow you to either use self-tappers or thread to 1032 for clamps for your brake and fuel lines. You can run those neatly along the top. You probably won't be able to use a stock line, but we have given you some positions to clamp that to and have everything tied up nicely. So now that everything's welded, we can take this off the frame table, send it out for powder coating, and carry on with the build. Hopefully that you enjoyed the video and got the information you need out of it to install in your car. If you have any other questions, you can contact us and we can try and answer your questions as best as possible. Thanks for buying the kit.